a situation exists between... The ongoing debate about Napoleon is still growing. What is happening behind the scenes? I am quite curious about this. Recently, when we examine Russia, there is a name that has been mentioned a lot. Medvedev. He has issued strong statements. This detail, along with the economic point that Murat Uzel just raised, is noteworthy. As the inability of European Union countries to achieve consensus on Ukraine, coupled with their failure to take action regarding defense, is a notable concern. The failure to establish a proper basis for action is a thought. What do you think about this? Starting from the end, both Murat Uzel and Hasan Uylaş have changed. There are changes happening in Europe. Europe is looking to increase its investment and spending on defense, and there is a specific plan for this. A program, at least in proposal form, was presented yesterday, where? At the European Union Leaders Summit in Brussels. So much so that even in Germany, a country that has made it a priority not to strengthen its military post-World War II, things are going wrong, things are going awry, and Merz aims to advance this further. He wants to enhance it. France serves as our nuclear defense umbrella, which could also encompass the European Union. Let's talk about this, as it represents a significant shift in policy. It aims to liberate Europe from the nuclear protection of the United States. In other words, it will free Europe from dependency and establish a balance against Russia using its own resources. England is making strong statements on the matter. Some are even likening him to Churchill, and we can adapt, enhance, and clarify that as well. There are such comparisons about Stormer, and these were discussed at yesterday's summit. But what happened? In fact, nothing happened again. All right, the €8 billion program announced by von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, is referred to as the EU's rearmament initiative. About this, progress is evident and there is a general consensus. Yes, we must now gain capabilities in defense and increase our production, and there is a consensus on this. However, there are still disagreements on how to proceed. For instance, Italian PM Meloni says, let's carry this out, but we shouldn't refer to it as rearmament. It misguides the citizens. It emphasizes that rearmament is not the way forward. The second point is that it cannot be achieved through debt. The European Union's cohesion funds are not available for defense spending. We are against this too. It offers its own suggestions. Look, this will happen, but how will it happen? There are already 27 countries and the EU itself is facing significant challenges. Therefore, the goal is significant. The target is critical, but there is still a long way to go. It has already diverged from the beginning. No one has a consensus. Doesn't this indicate something? In fact, he also wants to strengthen the EU's defense, but on the other hand, there is a very different opinion within Italy. Moreover, Salvini made a slight reference to Meloni again. He stated that if a European army is formed and Meloni is at the helm, we would capitulate in 20 minutes. Consider that. Thus, it was a summit held amidst such handicaps and disagreements. It took 10 hours, and if you inquire about the discussions, they revolved around defense policy. There is some progress, but no definitive decision. Discussions on this matter will extend until the summits in June. Yes, it was talked about in Ukraine, but Politico states that just 15 minutes were given to Ukraine. In this sense, the European Union stands behind Ukraine, but let's emphasize that it also leads to disappointment. Additionally, there is a Hungary factor at play. A decision on Ukraine was only reached with the involvement of 26 nations. The message concludes with whether assistance will persist. Hungary, the 27th country, did not endorse this. This illustrates yet another contradiction, a flaw, a weakness for the European Union. But what will occur? As you know, Macron has expressed, and the UK has primarily suggested sending peacekeeping forces to Ukraine, so that Russia does not attack again, something that will guarantee this. They aim to form a coalition of volunteers there. Many nations, even Poland, are Ukraine's top supporters. Our military can only suffice for us. We can't send troops to Ukraine since we are under threat too. Actually, this control edit refers to 10,000 troops. We are working on a plan to discuss this now. It is stated that 21 countries could support this, and a meeting regarding this will be held next week on March 11th in Paris.
The military chiefs from all nations participating in this coalition are set to convene. This means we observe parallel summits, with France taking the lead together with England. For this reason, France is angering Russia significantly, and this is now reflected in the rhetoric war. Macron stated this both in his address to the nation and at the Leaders' Summit. Russia is said to be an existential threat to Europe. It's not just about Ukraine anymore. It's time for action, not words. Let's do something. Of course, Russia perceives this as a direct threat. While Putin has been making low-profile statements lately, he did not hold back in addressing Macron. Some people are still not remaining idle. They aspire to be like Napoleon. Napoleon had advanced into Russian lands but returned due to significant failures and historical defeats, and he remarked this. They aspire to be like Napoleon but forget how it ended for him, he stated. He said, "Do not take us lightly, let them not underestimate us." Medvedev, during his tenure as prime minister, was known for his hawkish remarks and mocked Macron. Macron said, "Macron is ineffective and has no influence. He will likely stay in power until May 7, 2027 at the latest. After that, it vanishes into eternity, and nobody longs for it," he stated. He belittled using Macron's phrase, "This is how such word battles unfold." Naturally, the Starmer element is also present. He takes on a mediating role in Zelensky's attempts to repair ties with the US. Furthermore, post-Brexit, the European Union wants to regulate its relationship with the UK. It is taking action to fill a gap in Ukraine. Indeed, The Economist has likened Starmer to Winston Churchill, one of the most memorable and impactful figures of World War II. However, take note, the suit appears baggy on Starmer. The Churchill role is quite challenging and fraught with risk. A role that feels a bit too big for him. And even with all his achievements, Churchill was ousted from power in British politics by his own party. This has also been pointed out to him.